Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the words you speak right now could fill your wallet, change your destiny, and unlock a flow of wealth you've only dreamed of? What if one small shift in your daily habits could stop energy leaks that silently drain your success and clarity? Today, I'm going to show you how to protect your focus, strengthen your power, and speak prosperity into your life like never before. You won't just learn a secret to money. You'll discover how your energy, your mind, and even your personal choices are directly linked to the wealth you attract. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal could change everything about how you think, feel, and receive abundance. Your financial life begins with the quiet conversations you hold with yourself long before you ever see a dollar enter your hand, because your words are the first architects of your reality, shaping the beliefs that determine what you feel worthy of receiving. Every time you speak of increase, expansion, opportunity, or provision, you imprint those expectations onto your subconscious mind. And the subconscious is the part of you that never argues, it simply obeys. When you declare that money flows to you freely, you signal to your inner world that scarcity is not your destiny, and abundance is not a distant dream but a current identity. Your wallet becomes a symbolic mirror reflecting the emotional tone of your daily declarations and the energy with which you speak them. When you speak fear, your wallet tightens. When you speak faith, your wallet begins to open. This power is not mystical. It is psychological, spiritual, and deeply human, because your entire life bends toward the direction of your most dominant thoughts. The more consistently you affirm prosperity, the more naturally you begin to act in alignment with it. There is no separation between the words you release and the life you eventually experience. Speak to your wallet as if it hears you, because your mind certainly does. You carry within you a creative power that responds instantly to spoken intention, and every word you speak becomes a seed planted in the soil of the subconscious, destined to grow into behaviors, habits, and decisions that shape your financial future. When you say, "Money never runs out for me," you are not lying to yourself. You are choosing to align with a higher pattern of thinking that invites solutions instead of panic. Your subconscious will always move you in the direction of the identity you verbalize. So if you repeatedly speak lack, you reinforce the identity of someone who expects shortage, but if you speak abundance, you reinforce the identity of someone who expects provision. Your wallet eventually follows the identity you assume, because your actions begin to reflect the internal shifts your words create. You notice opportunities you once ignored. You make braver financial decisions, and you detach from old fear-based patterns that once sabotaged your future. The universe, your environment, and your relationships respond differently when you speak from a place of confidence rather than desperation. Because confidence alters your energy, and your energy alters your outcomes. Your words are the first currency you ever spend, and they determine the currency that returns back to you. This is why intentional speech is not motivational fluff. It is a tool that shapes the very frequency of your life. When you speak prosperity into your wallet, you are doing more than forming positive sentences. You are realigning the inner compass that guides your financial destiny, because your wallet reflects your consciousness long before it reflects your income. Speaking life into your finances dissolves internal barriers you didn't even know were restricting your flow. Barriers formed by childhood beliefs, past disappointments, or generational messages about money. These invisible beliefs operate quietly until your words challenge them, lift them, and transform them, allowing you to rise into a new expectation of success. Speaking abundance retrains your nervous system to remain calm in moments that once triggered fear. And calmness opens clarity, and clarity opens opportunity. The more you speak abundance, the more your mind becomes conditioned to seek solutions instead of dwelling on problems. And this shift alone can change the entire trajectory of your finances. When your language becomes expansive, your creativity awakens, and creative thinking is the birthplace of new income streams, new ideas, and new confidence. Your wallet does not thrive in an atmosphere of fear. It thrives in an atmosphere of expectancy. And expectancy is cultivated through speech. Your words call forth the mindset required to sustain the abundance you seek. Every time you speak to your wallet with gratitude, with certainty, and with boldness, you build a relationship with money that is rooted in respect rather than fear. And this shift in emotional tone transforms how money responds to you. Instead of chasing after it with anxiety, you begin attracting it through alignment, because abundance gravitates toward those who expect it, prepare for it, and speak it daily. Your declarations become your daily reminders that you are not built for scarcity, that your life is not defined by temporary conditions, and that increase is your natural state when you think and speak in harmony with it. The moment you decide that money circulates in your life with ease, you begin behaving like someone who manages, multiplies, and magnetizes wealth. Your words influence the emotions you carry, and those emotions influence the choice you make, and those choices influence the financial results you experience. Speaking abundance sharpens your awareness of opportunities you once walked past without noticing, opportunities that were always there but hidden behind layers of doubt. As your speech elevates, your actions evolve, your expectations rise, and your financial life begins reflecting the internal upgrades you've been declaring. The wallet you hold is not just a container for money. It is a symbol of your inner belief system responding faithfully to the words you choose day after day. Discipline is the silent architect behind every form of abundance, shaping the way you think, act, and respond to the opportunities that life places before you. Because wealth cannot survive in an environment where habits are unstable and decisions are driven by impulse. When you begin tightening the small areas of your life, how you spend your time, how you manage your emotions, how you control your reactions, you also begin tightening the flow of your finances, guiding them with intention instead of leaving them vulnerable to chaos. Prosperity is never just about receiving more. It is about becoming the kind of person who can handle more, manage more, and multiply more without collapsing under the weight of new responsibility. Your habits are the invisible forces governing your future, and every disciplined act you perform becomes a message to your subconscious that you are ready for increase. Discipline creates order, and order creates clarity, and clarity attracts opportunity you would not have recognized in a distracted or disorganized state. Every financially successful life is built on a foundation of small, consistent choices made long before the results ever appear. You cannot speak abundance and live in disorder, because disorder contradicts the very flow you are trying to attract. When you bring discipline into your life, you bring structure to your destiny. Your financial breakthrough depends as much on how you treat yourself in private as it does on the decisions you make in public, because internal discipline always precedes external rewards, shaping the mindset that determines your outcomes. The people who flourish financially are rarely just lucky. They're intentional, deliberate, and willing to confront the habits that drain their energy and dull their sense of purpose. They protect their time because they understand that time is the soil in which every dream is planted, and without disciplined stewardship, even the most powerful dreams wither. Discipline strengthens your ability to stay focused in a world full of distractions, allowing you to channel your mental power toward building instead of dividing your attention into 100 shallow pursuits. When your habits align with your goals, you create a lifestyle that supports your success, making financial stability not an occasional gift but a consistent pattern. Discipline is not punishment, it is preparation, equipping you to hold the blessings you have been believing for. If you want your wallet to stay full, your mind must stay steady, and steadiness is the product of disciplined daily choices. Every small act of discipline becomes a declaration that you refuse to live beneath your potential. Your daily habits either strengthen your financial foundation or erode it quietly, influencing your mood, your energy, and your ability to think clearly. Because success is impossible when your mind is scattered and your spirit is unfocused. When you allow impulsive patterns, emotional decisions, or compulsive behaviors to rule your day, you weaken the structure needed to build and maintain prosperity, shifting your focus away from growth and toward temporary satisfaction. Discipline empowers you to resist these impulses, not to deprive you, but to protect your future from being stolen by momentary desires. A stable mind creates stable finances, and stability begins with learning how to govern yourself even when no one is watching. The more disciplined you become, the more confident you grow in your own strength, and that confidence spills into your financial decisions, making you braver, wiser, and more deliberate with every step you take. Discipline is the bridge between desire and manifestation, linking who you are today with who you are capable of becoming. Without discipline, opportunities slip away unnoticed. With discipline, you recognize them the moment they appear. Your habits are building your financial story long before anyone else sees the chapters unfold. The energy you bring into your work, your decisions, and your relationships depends heavily on the discipline you practice in the quiet parts of your life. Because a disciplined person carries a different presence, focused, intentional, steady, and prepared. When you take control of your habits, you take control of your destiny. Refuse to let laziness, fear, or distraction dictate the quality of your life. Discipline frees you from the burden of regret by giving you the power to choose actions that align with your long-term vision instead of short-term comfort. You begin to see yourself as someone worthy of increase, someone capable of managing resources with wisdom, and someone strong enough to resist the patterns that once held you back. This shift in identity changes everything, because your life always rises or falls to the level of the person you believe yourself to be. Financial abundance is sustained not by wishful thinking but by consistent discipline that transforms your character from the inside out. When your habits support your goals, prosperity can trust you. When your habits sabotage your goals, prosperity slips through your hands. The more disciplined you become, the more your life begins aligning with the abundance you speak, think, and believe. Your body is a sacred vessel that responds to every habit you repeat, and the pattern you practice in private shape the strength you carry into every public moment of your life. Because nothing drains or empowers you more than the choices you make when no one else is watching. When you engage in any habit compulsively, even harmless ones, it begins to blur your mental clarity, weaken your emotional stability, and scatter the energy you need for your purpose. Excessive self-stimulation, like any form of overindulgence, can lead to a sense of emotional depletion that affects your motivation and focus, not because the act itself is unnatural, but because the lack of balance disrupts your inner rhythm. When your energy becomes fragmented, your ability to think sharply begins to fade, and when your thoughts become foggy, every goal in your life becomes harder to pursue. Your body speaks loudly through the way you feel tired, restless, disconnected, or unmotivated. And those feelings are signals pointing toward the need for moderation. You were created to live with vitality, strength, and purpose, and that requires habits that replenish you, not habits that drain you. When you guard your energy, you guard your destiny. Every pattern you repeat shapes the emotional atmosphere within you, influencing how you wake up, how you work, how you speak, and how you show up in your relationships, because the body and mind are always communicating with each other. When any habit becomes excessive, especially one tied to instant gratification, it can quietly dull your drive, making it harder to pursue long-term goals with passion and consistency. The more you rely on quick pleasure, the more difficult it becomes to access the discipline required for meaningful progress, because the mind becomes trained to expect the easiest path instead of the most rewarding one. This is not about guilt or shame. It is simply about understanding the cost of imbalance and the power of self-governance. Your energy is one of your greatest currencies, and how you spend it determines what you have left to build your future. When you protect your emotional and physical energy, you create space for creativity, direction, and purpose to flow through you. Balance brings strength, and strength brings progress, and progress builds the life you envision. You become unstoppable when your habits support your clarity. There are areas of your life that require your full strength: your career, your vision, your financial goals, your spiritual growth, and when you exhaust your energy on compulsive behaviors, you rob these areas of the fuel they need to flourish. The mind becomes foggy, attention becomes scattered, and passion becomes diluted when too much energy is poured into quick-release habits that offer temporary relief, but no long-term fulfillment. Excessive self-pleasuring can contribute to emotional numbness, not because the act itself is harmful, but because repetition without intention disconnects you from deeper forms of expression, meaningful connection, and purposeful focus. You deserve to live with a clear mind, a strong spirit, and a centered heart, and that requires choosing habits that elevate, rather than habits that deplete. The more balanced your lifestyle becomes, the more vibrant your energy feels, and that vibrancy becomes the foundation of your success. The strongest people are not those who never feel temptation. They are those who learn to master it rather than be mastered by it. When you rise above your impulses, you rise into your potential. Your long-term well-being depends heavily on the balance you maintain between pleasure and purpose, because your inner stability is shaped by the harmony between your emotional, physical, and spiritual health. When any area becomes overstimulated or neglected, the imbalance eventually shows up in your motivation, confidence, and ability to focus. You cannot expect greatness from a mind that is exhausted or from a spirit that is constantly drained by cycles of overindulgence. Moderation strengthens you, bringing your desires, your goals, and your habits into alignment so that none of them overpower the others. When your habits serve your purpose, instead of distracting you from it, your whole life begins rising to a higher standard. You begin feeling more connected, more energized, more present, and more capable of pursuing the life you desire. Your clarity grows sharper, your decisions grow wiser, and your confidence grows stronger. Balance creates freedom because it releases you from the grip of compulsive patterns and restores your ability to choose with intention. Every moment of balance adds courage to your character and power to your path. You desire in life greater finances, deeper peace, stronger confidence, divine ideas, new opportunities flows through the energy you carry each day, and that energy is shaped by the habits you choose, the thoughts you repeat, and the focus you protect within yourself. When your energy is drained by distraction, overindulgence, or scattered intentions, your inner power becomes diluted, making it harder for you to rise to the level of clarity needed to access your purpose. But when your habits begin aligning with your goals, your entire inner world shifts, allowing your mind to sharpen, your emotions to stabilize, and your spirit to strengthen in a way that naturally attracts opportunities that once seemed out of reach. Alignment is not just a spiritual idea. It is a psychological state where your actions, your beliefs, and your desires finally move in the same direction instead of fighting each other. When your life is in alignment, stress decreases, clarity increases, and you begin hearing the subtle guidance that leads you toward the future you are meant to build. It is impossible to live in alignment while holding on to habits that drain your energy, but it is equally impossible to fail when your energy is clean, your focus is steady, and your intentions are pure. Alignment opens the flow of everything you have been seeking. Your mind is the command center of your destiny, directing your decisions, shaping your perception, and influencing the quality of your financial and emotional life, which is why guarding your focus becomes one of the most powerful acts of self-respect you can practice. Where your mind is overloaded with instant gratification, emotional turbulence, or endless distraction, it loses the strength to sustain long-term purpose. Because purpose requires a clarity that cannot exist in a cluttered mental environment. You cannot build a life of abundance with a mind that feels scattered or weakened by habits that steal your inner momentum. The sharper your mind becomes, the stronger your financial decisions become, and the stronger your financial decisions become, the more your life begins to reflect the abundance you desire. Mental alignment is the place where your thoughts stop contradicting your goals and instead begin supporting your rise, guiding you toward better choices, better relationships, and better opportunities. When your mind is clean, your path becomes clear. And when your path becomes clear, nothing can stop you from stepping into the future you were born to manifest. Focus is the unseen force that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Your physical, emotional, and spiritual energy are deeply connected, and when one is out of balance, the others try to compensate, creating exhaustion, tension, and confusion that make it harder to pursue your purpose with strength. When you drain your energy on habits that bring temporary relief, but leave you feeling empty afterward, you weaken the inner fire required to build wealth, discipline, creativity, and spiritual depth. But when you choose habits that support your vitality, moderation, clarity, intention, mindfulness, you awaken a level of power that elevates every area of your life. The body becomes stronger, the mind becomes sharper, and the spirit becomes more peaceful, creating an internal harmony that naturally attracts growth. Purpose requires energy, and energy requires wise choices, and wise choices require self-awareness. When you understand what drains you and what strengthens you, you become the master of your own momentum. You begin walking with a confidence that comes from within, not from circumstance. And that confidence opens doors that fear once kept closed, A powerful life always begins with a powerful inner state. Every blessing you're praying for requires a version of you that is aligned, focused, and prepared to receive it. Because abundance is not sustained by desire alone, it is sustained by stability, clarity, and consistency. When your energy is scattered, opportunities pass you by because you cannot see them clearly, or you do not have the strength to act on them quickly enough. But when your energy is whole, your intuition becomes stronger, your judgment becomes wiser, and your timing becomes perfect, allowing you to move with certainty instead of hesitation. Alignment gives you the courage to say no to the habits that weaken you and yes to the habits that elevate you. It helps you recognize when you are slipping into old patterns and give you the strength to rise above them before they take root again. When your mind, body, and spirit move in harmony, your life begins to attract people, ideas, and opportunities that reflect the level of alignment you're operating from. Abundance is drawn to order, confusion is drawn to chaos, and you choose which one you live in by the alignment or misalignment of your daily actions. The moment you decide to protect your energy, your life begins to transform.